Hi, we are CPA. Noggin Theatre is located in Western Ontario and is one of the few remaining municipally owned theatres. It has a rich history and deep roots within Minton. In 2005, a proposal was made to complete an addition to the theatre and cosmetic changes to be made. Upon evaluation to make the changes, it was found that more serious problems needed to be addressed, and consequently the theatre closed. 600 participants from the community demonstrated to show their support. Despite the outpouring of support, the progress to reopen was sluggish. As of 2007, Noggin needs funds of $350,000 to have renovations performed. They require community funding and financing from the municipal government. They face skepticism from the municipality due to deficits ranging from $16,000 to $22,000 for the last 5 years. Our question is, how can Noggin Theatre prove its financial feasibility while meeting the needs of the community of Minton?
Porter's 5 Forces. We will begin by using Porter's 5 Forces to examine the industry in which Norgan operates. Norgan's suppliers are the distribution companies that provide the film rights. These companies have a high level of bargaining power because there is little to no negotiation of price, especially due to the size of the theater. There is a high threat of substitutions in the form of 2 local competitors, Capitol and Gorge Cinemas, and 1 large competitor, Galaxy Cinemas. The buyers have moderate bargaining power because while Norgan has the lowest prices in the area, there are other options if they choose to travel further. There's a high threat of new entrants, not specifically in the brick and mortar theater sense, but there are increasingly more methods for downloading and watching via web-based methods. Next, we will perform a SWOT analysis to help us create a risk profile for Norgan and the industry. First, strengths. Royalties are paid using a sliding scale variable costing model, which results in a lower break-even point than other pricing models. In addition, the majority of operations can be ran by volunteers, reducing the operating costs such as wages and salary. The theater is municipally owned and allows for the acquisition of loans with no requirement for collateral. Non-interest-bearing financing results in the company having little or no interest expense. Next, weaknesses. Substantial structural renovations are required, which will result in high initial costs before operations begin. Outdated technology and equipment will need to be replaced, which will require leasing of equipment at higher monthly payments. The advertising and marketing budget may be insufficient and provides very little flexibility in the allocation of resources. Capacity restrictions due to the size of the theater will limit sales potential in the future.
Next, we're going to talk about opportunities, and one of the opportunities that we identified was the strong community ties that the theater has with approximately 600 loyal community members who are also strong advocates of the theater continuing operation. The next opportunity that we identified was the theater's access to funding and community grants. And we found that the community would be able to donate approximately $65,000, and then the theater would be able to raise an additional $115,000 through the sale of the land that the municipality holds. There's also a large adolescent and senior population, which is a great opportunity because these are the people that have the most free time and makes them an advantageous target to reach. Next, we're going to talk about threats, and one of the threats is the local competition, which comes from Capitol Cinema, who have a higher capacity, and also George Cinema, which offers a greater variety of movies. Technological advances have provided a new threat to the film industry because people now have the opportunity to acquire movies through a different method or a different channel other than the theater. The next threat is the shortening of theatrical releases, which provides a unique threat because it lessens the time period that movies are exclusive to the theaters.
When considering the strategic alternatives, we've identified the following stakeholders: the municipal government, members of community, and suppliers. We recognize that Norgan must have a strong relationship with these stakeholders in order to achieve its goals. The alternatives are based on a specific criteria: financial feasibility, community involvement, and maximizing long-term growth. With this criteria in mind, we have evaluated two alternatives. First, a premium pricing model. The strategy focuses on financial growth with an emphasis on higher pricing and higher revenue. This will allow Norgan to offer the newest movie and give it competitive advantage over other local cinemas. In this model, the prices will be adjusted to $8 for adults and $6 for children. Norgan also have competitive advantage over large chain cinema because the prices are cheaper and they are 45 minutes closer for the community of Minto. In addition, Norgan can increase the concession pricing to achieve high revenue, averaging $2 per movie patron on concession.
The second alternative is the community outreach model. This model emphasizes building strong relationships with the community. One of the ways this will be achieved is by partnering with the local schools to assist the Minto youth in reaching their high school diploma volunteer hours requirement. In addition, the Opportunities Fund program that was created in 2006 provides companies with the opportunity to hire people with disabilities and receive up to 80% of their salary in grants. The goal behind this alternative is to engage the entire community and to cultivate strong relationships while reducing costs. Moreover, there will be an increased focus on attracting students and seniors to capture the largest segment of the population base. The creation of a seniors discount equal to the current children's rate will achieve growth in the 65+ age bracket. A Saturday senior matinee will be added for those who would like an earlier viewing option.
Alternative 2 was chosen because it best met our three criteria of financial feasibility, meeting the community needs, and also maximization of long-term growth. Alternative 1 did meet the financial feasibility and long-term growth criteria, but fell a little bit short when considering the theater's relationship with the community. In order to implement the second alternative, the community outreach program, there are a few steps we need to take.
First, the number of volunteers. The plan is to continue to employ 2 salaried workers and have the remainder of the operations run by student volunteers. We will be able to sustain employment throughout the year due to the Education of Ministry's volunteer requirements. How will we manage them? Our volunteers will be managed by 1 salary supervisor. However, due to the fact that we have been able to subsidize our salary expenses by 80% by utilizing the Government Disability Employment Program, we may be able to hire additional employees if necessary. What types of movies will we be playing? We will show mainstream and non-mainstream movies. This will enable the theatre to retain their current market share as well as expand into the share of the market that is currently going to large theatres to see newer movies. When to release? The releases will be happening after the first week in order to mitigate the variable costs associated with showing the movies. Should prices be adjusted? We will likely proceed with a discounted price approach for seniors, who make up a large proportion of our local community. This price should be equal to the current children's rate of $5. Publicity opportunities through volunteer and community involvement. Because of our community-driven approach, the theatre will be able to project a positive public image. This will be largely due to the volunteer opportunities offered to the community students and the employment opportunities for locally disabled community members. In conclusion, the people of Minto have demonstrated their support for the Norgan Theatre and how much it means to the community. The newly renovated theatre should be focused on creating bonds, on creating memories. While the premium pricing model may have a gross profit that's higher and be more efficient in generating revenue, the model lacks a qualitative value that is important to small Canadian communities. The community outreach model provides valuable work experience to local students and individuals with disabilities while mitigating the need to increase prices and potentially alienating core customers. This alternative allows for additional cost-saving opportunities and increasing the feasibility of the project. Minto prides itself on neighborliness, togetherness, volunteerism for the benefit of each other, and is the community where families belong.